We're always looking ahead, researching DNA to personalize medicine and help prevent heart disease and cancer. Even going to space to learn how your muscles can be stronger on Earth, so you can feel whole for your whole life.
We all want to support our community and small businesses, protect the environment and our kids' future, and above all, help others when they need it. That's why every day, our energy goes into delivering reliable, cleaner, affordable energy. The energy that promises a better tomorrow with new jobs and opportunities and helps everyone move forward together. We're Duke Energy, and we're building a smarter energy future for you.
Swordsman Roofing and Construction is a family-owned and operated business serving both in Texas and all Florida counties. The Florida Director of Operations, Nathaniel Watts, along with his sister and office manager, Meredith Fincher, were raised in Deltona and graduated from Deltona High School. They're now raising their families here and are hopeful to play a role in maintaining and improving our communities for the better. Swordsman Roofing and Construction are proud sponsors of the Deltona Middle School Choir. We at Swordsman Roofing and Construction pride ourselves on providing stellar work and excellent customer service. We offer a workmanship warranty on every job, ensuring your roofing system is energy efficient and environmentally friendly. The staff is highly skilled, specializing in roofing, gutters, fencing, and more. We look forward to serving your roofing and construction needs.
I love DeBerry because of the quality community we have here in our city.
DeBerry has a quality park system with so many different activities for you to enjoy.
DeBerry's quality government strives to be efficient and transparent with its citizens.
Our quality first responders work tirelessly within our city.
I love the quality businesses we have in DeBerry.
Quality programs.
Quality close-knit neighbors.
Quality atmosphere.
DeBerry, a quality life. Welcome to DeBerry, Florida. Located on the St. Johns River, the city offers a unique urban community highlighting its history, ecotourism, and small-town living. DeBerry is located in Volusia County near the greater Orlando area, with popular tourist destinations, 3 international airports, and numerous attractions only a short drive away.
Hi, I'm Bob Apgar, Mayor of DeLand. Delightful DeLand, the Athens of Florida. I'm pleased to share with you some things that have happened in our great city. While the past 2 years have been challenging with the COVID-19 pandemic, 2021 was a monumental year for new commerce and also marked the return much closer to normalcy. Cookies LLC, a leading medical marijuana company, moved its Florida headquarters to DeLand. The facility will be used to grow, produce, manufacture, and distribute its medicinal product in Florida and the southeastern United States. This will represent a $100 million investment in our city and bring over time more than 500 jobs to our community. Spectre Boats, a high-performance boat design and manufacturing company, has relocated from Central Ohio to an existing building within the airport industrial area and hopes to commence operations before year's end. The average annual wage for its staff will be $40,000 or an annual payroll of $1.6 million. Configuring their plant is commanding a capital expenditure of about $3 million. There's also renewed hope for the dilapidated Hotel Putnam. The new owner has plans to convert the former hotel into apartments, though rising construction costs have become a major concern for the owner. The DeLand Fire Department Station 81 moved to its new location at 343 West Howery Avenue. Already the station with the most calls in the county, the new 19,000 square foot facility was designed to serve DeLand for the next 50 to 100 years. We also celebrated the opening of the Bridge Homeless Shelter and Day Center. While it opened during the peak of the pandemic, a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held on its first anniversary to recognize the culmination of the project that is designed to alleviate homeless issues in West Volusia. As the grip of the COVID-19 pandemic began to diminish, our community has also seen a return to normalcy, with residents venturing back to our award-winning downtown. Special events have also started back, with the DeLand Christmas Parade and the Mardi Gras Dog Parade being some of the most well-attended parades in recent history. As you can see, DeLand is a vibrant and bustling city. Moving forward, DeLand has its challenges, but we view those as opportunities to improve as we continue to welcome new residents to DeLand. New residents embrace the same values that long-term residents do, like community pride and small-town charm. It's part of why DeLand is Central Florida's premier destination for people to visit. On a personal note, as this is my final year as mayor, I want to say what an honor and privilege it has been to serve you for 34 years, the last 21 of which as mayor. I, however, intend to remain active in this community as it holds a special place in my heart. After all, it has been my hometown since 1959. I'm confident about DeLand's future and what's in store for us in 2022 and beyond. Working together as a community, we can continue to ensure that DeLand remains a wonderful place to live, work, and play.
Hello, I'm Heidi Hertzberg, the Mayor of Deltona. I am pleased to report that the state of the City of Deltona is strong. We are continuing to add to our vibrancy, growth, and culturally diverse community, striving daily to make changes that positively impact residents, businesses, and visitors, and are excited to share our vision for the future with you. In 2021, the City Commission developed a strategic plan to guide our vision for the future. We could not make these transformative changes by ourselves. We have been fostering significant partnerships that have assisted our community in the past and will be critical to reaching our vision of the future. On the economic development front, these partners include Volusia County, Team Volusia, our neighboring municipalities, the state of Florida, and various other agencies and entities. Additionally, over the years, our medical needs have grown, and the City of Deltona continues to foster partnerships with Halifax Health UF Health Medical Center, Advent Health's freestanding ER, our Veterans Clinic, and Family Health Source. At the heart of our city, we have community partnerships. These are the lifeblood of our city, often working behind the scenes for the good of the community. Through food distribution, community programs, providing property maintenance and assistance to those in need, helping residents with animal care and services, and establishing a community garden, our community partners are tightly woven into the fabric of our community. The state of Deltona and our region is strong. We invite you to come and see how we are reimagining, redeveloping, and rediscovering the City of Deltona.
A small-town ambiance and charming history make up the fabric of the Orange City community. Orange City has a reputation for being the commercial hub of Volusia County. Shop till you drop at one of our excellent retail centers, then experience one of our fabulous restaurants. You'll be in great hands in Orange City. Our fire department recently ranked in the top 2% in the nation, and our first-class police department is staffed by highly trained professionals who put your safety above all else. Florida Hospital Fish Memorial is Volusia County's second largest hospital, with 175 patient beds and a reputation for high-quality health care. John Knox Village is a unique full-service life care retirement community, home to some 650 residents, as well as a 5-star rated medical center. Orange City offers students superior educational opportunities, 2 elementary schools, River Springs Middle, and our brand new state-of-the-art University High School. Those seeking higher education have many nearby options. Stetson University, Daytona Beach State College, and the University of Central Florida are all located within a short distance of Orange City. Residents of Orange City have access to beautiful parks and recreational areas, bike trails, play areas, and sporting facilities can all be found in the area.
My name is Rob Doan, and I'm here with my fellow Cobb Cole DeLand office partners Mike Woods and Mark Watts.
Each of us has had the honor to serve as the president of the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and the Orange City Alliance. It is the state of Florida's oldest chamber and the preeminent organization servicing the West Volusia business community. We are proud to support the chamber's continued efforts to educate our local businesses.
We don't just work in West Volusia. I was born and raised here. We all live here. We've raised our kids and our families here. We own small businesses in the community. That's why membership and sponsorship of the DeLand Area Chamber and the Orange City Alliance is so important to us. It's my honor to serve as Cobb Cole's current president. This is the first time in our firm's history since 1925 that a DeLand-based partner has served in this role. It's a testament to the thriving communities and cities we have, economies we have in West Volusia. And I appreciate the fact that our partners have entrusted that role to me.
Mike or I have moderated the State of the Region event for nearly a decade. It's my privilege to do it once again this year. We celebrate our great cities of West Volusia, our mayors and representatives, and we welcome you to this great event presented by the DeLand Chamber of Commerce and the Orange City Alliance. Thanks for joining us.
My name is David Clements. I'm the Legislative Affairs Committee Chair for the DeLand Chamber and Orange City Alliance. I'd like to welcome everyone here. It's nice to see everyone here in person for a change after 2 years of doing this via Zoom. I'd like to welcome everyone to the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance 2022 State of the Region. I'd first like to introduce Barb Gertman, the Vice Chair of Volusia County Council, and the Honor Guard from the Deltona Fire Department. And Barb Gertman will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
Thank you so much for this honor.
Next, I'd like to introduce Pastor Dennis Herron from the Dayspring Community Church, who will lead us in our invocation.
Good morning. May we pray together. Father God, we thank you for this time that you've allowed us to be here. Lord, thank you for the time of fellowship, the time of networking. Father, we pray your blessings upon this meeting. Lord, we pray for each of the speakers, Lord, as they share about their city. And Lord, may we be receptive of the news of our community. Father God, we do pray your blessings upon our cities, upon our communities, the works that are being done. May you be honored and glorified in all that is done. And Lord, we just thank you for this time that we've had today. And Lord, we just pray your blessings on this event. For in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Next, I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Godwin, the 2022 Chamber President from Duke Energy.
Thank you, David. As David said, my name is Elizabeth Godwin, and I have the privilege of working for Duke Energy, but also serving as the president of the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance. So I just want to welcome you all to the State of the Region this morning. Thank you for braving the weather to come out and be here. I know we all live and we work in this region, and so we know what an exciting time this is. There is so much growth and opportunity, but with that comes challenges. So I'm grateful for the leadership that we have throughout our community, many of which are here in the audience today. Thank you for working so hard to make this a place where businesses of all sizes and industries can thrive. But I especially want to thank the mayors who are on stage. Thank you for being here. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you all have to say. So please enjoy your lunch. And David?
Next, I'd like to introduce the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance Executive Director, Janet Knott.
Sorry, I'm not that tall. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. How exciting this is to be here in person and to be able to hear all the great things that are happening in our community. So first, I would like to do some introductions, starting with our distinguished mayors. I'd like to introduce Vice Mayor of DeBary, Phyllis Butlin. And if all the guests representing the city of DeBary would please stand as well. I think we had some here. They're at a Parks and Rec. Yes. There you go. All right, and I would also like to introduce our Mayor of DeLand, Robert Apgar, better known as Mayor Bob. Our Mayor of Deltona, Heidi Herzberg. Mayor of Lake Helen, Cameron Lane. Our Mayor of Orange City, Gary Blair. And the Mayor of Pearson, Samuel Bennett. And if those that are representing any of the cities today, DeLand, Deltona, Lake Helen, Orange City, or Pearson, would please stand for a round of applause. I'd also like to introduce our other dignitaries that are in attendance today. Please stand as you are introduced, and we'll hold all our applause until the end. We have Volusia County Council members Barb Gertman, Fred Lowry, and Danny Robbins. Representing Volusia County Schools, Ruben Colan and Kelly Amy. Our Florida House State Representatives, Webster Barnaby and his staff, and attending to represent Elizabeth Fetterhoff are Francesca Audino and Valerie Clark. Representing the Office of Public Defender, Matt Metz. And our Volusia County Property Appraiser, Larry Bartlett. Also in attendance, Team Volusia Economic Development Corporation, Tracy Marino is representing. And we would like to welcome all of our candidates that are here today that are running for office. And if you would please stand at this time for a round of applause if you're running for an office at this time. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to introduce our executive officers for the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance. And please hold your applause until the end. Our 2022 President, Elizabeth Godwin of Duke Energy. Past President, Rob Doan of Cobb Coal. Treasurer, Matt Brown of Page Insurance Agency. Secretary, Donna White of Quality Quick Print. And if all of my board of directors, chamber team, and legislative affairs committee would please stand. Also, our 2022 Leadership West Volusia class please stand. And let me recognize also our Volusia County Council Chair, Jeff Brower. Special thank you to Deltona TV for live streaming today's event. And now I would like to thank all of the sponsors that made this program possible today. First, I would like to recognize our title sponsor, Cobb Coal. Our presenting sponsors, and hold your applause until the end, please. Brown & Brown Insurance, Advent Health, Swordsman Roofing, Main Street Community Bank, and Duke Energy. Our premier sponsors are Launch Credit Union, Quality Quick Print, Joe Hearn Events, DaVita Labs, and ViStar Credit Union. And our partner sponsors, Axum Media, Page Insurance Agency, the West Volusia Beacon, Paul Elkind, Branson Paul. Again, thank you all for being here today. It is a great honor to be able to do this in person and to share with you all the wonderful things happening in the West Volusia region. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Next, I'd like to introduce past president and today's moderator, Rob Doan. Rob Doan is a partner in the Cobb Coal law firm. He primarily devotes his practice to businesses, landowners, and professionals in the construction, real estate, and development industries. He is board certified as an expert in construction law by the Florida Bar and has served as a secretary of the Florida Bar's Construction Law Committee since 2011. Rob?
We are back in person. I've done this the last couple of years on Zoom. It really is a pleasure to be here in person. This was the last place we did one of these in person, so it's great to be back in this room, see all our representatives of all the cities, the business community. I want to thank my partners from Cobb Coal for being the title sponsors this year, and all of our premier sponsors, all of our sponsors for making this event possible. Joe Hearn he's the Energizer Bunny of West Volusia. He puts on just about every event you've ever been to. He always does a great job. Thank you, Joe, as well. We're going to start the program today with a 3 or 4 minute speech by each of the mayors about what's going on in their city. After that, we will move into a panel discussion where I will pose a question. Each one of the mayors will have a couple minutes to respond. And it really is a great opportunity every year for us to check in and see what's going on from the mayor's perspectives. And we're so glad that you could join us for it. So without further ado, we're going to start and do these opening statements just in alphabetical order with DeBerry. We're going to start with Vice Mayor Phyllis Butlin, and she's going to tell us what's going on in the great city of DeBerry.
Your partners, I appreciate being here. The mayor couldn't be here today. She's in St. Petersburg with our city manager and public affairs director accepting our Trail Town designation award today, so thank you. In 2019, when I was seated along with the mayor and Councilmember Stevenson, the city was in a bad financial situation. Our first task was to hire a city manager, and together we tackled those financial issues. Thanks to sound financial management decisions, we restored our financial position, building up reserves and strengthening our organization. We were also able to keep the millage rate the same, and in fact, we have reduced or lowered some fees, resulting in an overall decrease in taxes fees for the year over 96% of our residents. Since arriving in 2019, we had increased our cash reserves 48.5% without raising our millage rate. Part of the fiscal strength lies in the partnerships we have with our first responders. By contracting these services with Volusia Sheriff's Office and Orange City Fire Department, the city saves considerably in costs without sacrificing results. We have also been able to solve many long-standing issues such as our stormwater system. Through grants, legislative appropriations, and good fiscal management, we were able to eliminate the worst and most dangerous sections of the failed system. Residents no longer need to fear the rainy season. We established a communications department which enhanced our newsletter and social media presence. So we thank them and also creating a Citizens Academy to help our citizens understand the government better. Our Parks Department continues to be the most beloved community programs. Even through the height of the pandemic, they were very successful. As for growth, the city continues to balance with reducing density in projects brought before the council. Once properties are entitled, you can't stop growth, you can only manage it. And through our careful planning and visioning, we can ensure new developments are aligned with our vision. For example, we require new builders to add bike and walking trails as well as golf cart accessibility to all our properties that are being developed and attach them to the existing city trails. This will save by requiring commercial parcels to contain residents, taverns, bakeries, and specialty items in businesses, our main street will see 40% less density than allowed. DeBarry is the bike capital. We have been designated the bike-friendly city of the year last year, with 3 trails coming in: our Central Florida Trail, St. John's River Loop, and Heart of Florida, all ending and starting in DeBarry. Our strategic vision balances our growth with environmental conservation and beautification. Our Main Street project will provide a multimodal mixed use where residents and guests can gather our vision in a small boutique business-like, such as restaurants, taverns, bakeries, coffee shops, and thrive in this type of setting. That's right across the street from the Sunrail. Residents will be able to walk or bike to many of the eco activities that surround this area. Our second biggest project is planned acquisition of 170 acres of riverfront property. Currently zoned for housing, the city hopes to acquire the Riverbend South project and turn it into a passive recreation park and provide land for a freshwater reservation and education center. Together, we are facing and resolving our challenges in building a quality city based on our core values. That doesn't just happen. It's through a thought-out process to keep our city close-knit, initiated by council and implementing by our team. DeBarry is more than you ever imagined.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Butlin. And for the opening welcome statement by DeLand Mayor Bob Apgar.
Thank you. First, I want to thank the Chamber for continued support of our businesses. They truly are our lifeblood. Our business retention partnership with the Chamber provides us with good results and allows us to improve our services to the business community. Thanks to the CEO Business Alliance, Team Volusia, and the county for all the good economic development work they do for us. And lastly, I want to take a moment and thank the cities of West Volusia for thinking regionally. It's very important to the futures of our community. Now to some of the many good things that are happening in DeLand. It's a little bit like trying to put 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound sack, but I'll try. On the video, you already saw a little bit about cookies and Spectre boats. Our newest addition at the DeLand Airport is PCDG, a construction-related company. They are occupying the old DeVita Lab building. They'll employ about 50 to 60 people in multiple subsidiaries. They have expansion plans into the Northwest Industrial Park as well, and they're going to do a complete facelift to that building. Downtown, well, first of all, we're getting some interest in the Sport Aviation Village. The skydive and parachute businesses continue to thrive. A branch of an aircraft maker, Bushcat, is operating at Mustang Point with about 5 employees. Kingspan will renovate their existing building and increase its square footage by 25% at a cost of $4 million. When done in 2023, the building will be on the cutting edge of technology and sustainability. They plan to bring their customers, worldwide companies, to DeLand to showcase their products incorporated into the building. Who knows, some of those visitors may like DeLand and move some of their operations here. Downtown DeLand continues to flourish. It's so great to see so many feet on the street. Occupancy remains high. It appears that at least one of the proposed apartment projects downtown will come to fruition. There are a couple more that may as well. Heads and beds in downtown has been a long goal for us. Country Club Corners and Victoria Commons continue adding new business. Some very exciting business for all of us is a proposed, and I want everybody that may remember this to think about the 472 DRI, is a proposed 142-acre mixed-use project north of 472 between MLK Boulevard and I-4 by an Indiana developer who plans to develop over 1 million square feet of warehouse distribution on 120 of those acres and develop the remaining acreage for retail and other support uses. I think it's time for West Volusia to hold an event entitled Invest in the West and invite real estate professionals, realtors, and people from Central Florida to learn about the opportunities in West Volusia. Why? Economic development professionals say there is no available space of any size or number in West Volusia. If a guy from Indiana sees that opportunity, why don't we expose ourselves and educate others in Central Florida about the opportunities here? The exposure could mean more better paying jobs for West Volusia. In conclusion, the land's future remains very bright. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve this community for as long as I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Apgar. And on to Deltona, Mayor Hertzberg.
Thank you so much. So this year, Deltona is a young city. We're 27 years old. We're a vibrant, growing, and culturally diverse city and are striving daily to make changes that positively impact residents, businesses, and visitors. And we're excited to share our vision with all of you. We have made some transformative changes through our strategic planning process that the Commission has approved and management continues to implement. We can't make these transformative changes ourselves. We have been fostering significant partnerships that have assisted our community in the past and will be critical to reaching our new vision for the future. In economic development, our partners include Volusia County, Team Volusia, our neighboring municipalities, the state of Florida, and various other agencies and entities. These partnerships will further the possibility of an additional interchange at I-4 and Rhode Island. That is what we're striving to look at in the next few years. We are also looking at having a 2.1 million square foot development in Portland Industrial Park. We're also looking at the Rhode Island expansion, which we will be doing in this next year, expanding internally and widening portions of Normandy Boulevard to access 300 plus acres for future commercial development. In the medical field, as Deltona and the region grows, our medical needs grow as well. As you drove in today, you may have noticed the new building on your left-hand side right behind our fire station. That is the new cardiology center, one small part of the growing medical community in Deltona. It joins Halifax Health, UF Health Medical Center, Advent Health's freestanding ER, our Veterans Clinic, and Family Health Source, which is on Deltona Boulevard. We have had many, throughout the pandemic, health-related events consisting of testing at Dewey Boster Park and testing also at Family Health Source down on Deltona Boulevard. When we look at public safety, Deltona's commitments to its residents also focuses on public safety. Our Sheriff's Department provides residents with the opportunity to participate in CompStat meetings at City Hall. And our neighboring city, I know DeBary has that as well. This interactive meeting allows the public to ask the sheriff questions, review statistical information, and stay informed with what's happening in their neighborhoods. Deltona Fire Department is community-oriented and community-driven, providing programs, education, awareness, all through public safety campaigns and local events. In our beautiful building here, the center, in this past year, we've had multiple events, including this event today. We've had job fairs, back-to-school events, and youth programs to address direct community needs. Our partnerships help the community and its residents enjoy a great quality of life. Recreation. The city of Deltona has 23 active parks. We have another 20 or so pieces of land that could be turned into parks in the future. Parks and recreation has been a very, very distinct focus for the city of Deltona while we work with our community partners to provide little leagues, soccer camps, and various other economic activities for our residents to participate in. A lot of these are local homegrown people that are providing great programs for our youth. We have the Boys and Girls Club, and we also have martial arts and other activities in our many park buildings that truly reach out to the residents and try to provide a diverse education and recreation system. We even have pickleball courts if anybody's interested. At the heart of our community, we have community partnerships. These are the lifeblood of our community, often working behind the scenes for the good of our community. Through food distribution, community programs, providing property maintenance assistance to those in need, and helping residents with animal care and services, and establishing a community garden, our community partners are tightly woven into the fabric of our community. As we look at Deltona's growth, there has to be a balance of growth. Like all of us up here, we have a lot of new residential development. We cherish the residentials that we already have, but we also have to look forward to commercial growth, something that Mayor Apgar had just talked about with the huge things that are coming in around Interstate 4. And as chamber members, we all realize that without economic development, the resources and the building of our communities and the job availability for all those new residents that are coming down here dies on the vine. So with Deltona, we are working on economic development, on commercial development, but we also are striving to look at the communities and the residential areas that we already have. We're working really hard to make those quality of life issues better and working with new developments that come in to truly address the things that all of us up here look at: growth. How does growth affect all of us? And that's a vision for our commission. We're looking at putting a moratorium in on residential single-family homes. We've started the process to do that for a short amount of time so that we can redo our land development code, so that we can really look at what the future of Deltona, which was initially built as a retirement community with 3 little parcels that the Mackel brothers put in 3 areas that had all our infrastructure in there. We have not done that with the rest of our city. So right now we're looking at what is our vision for Deltona? What is the vision for the future for not only economic development and commercial growth, but residential growth? So in conclusion, I invite all of you to look at Deltona as we redevelop, reimagine, and rediscover our young city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hertzberg. And to our newest mayor on the panel today from Lake Helen, Cameron Lane.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you. It's great to be here. Got to get used to these buttons. I'm new. I'd like to start out talking a little bit about Lake Helen. We are unique in this world, or so it seems to me anyway. We have an interesting history. At one point, we were the economic powerhouse of Volusia County. We had over 6,000 jobs in Lake Helen. We had a shingle factory, a sawmill, a brick factory, a large resort hotel, a lot of citrus and agriculture, and it all burned down. And then it burned down again on a couple of them where they tried to rebuild. And it's like the old Monty Python thing, it sank into the swamp, and we rebuild it. But finally, we have just not resigned ourselves, but we have embraced the fact that we are a almost 100% residential community. That's our entire tax base. I embrace that. My campaign slogan, sexy as it is, was steady incremental improvement. That's what that's what we hope for in Lake Helen, is steady incremental improvement, because we are, as everybody up here knows, residential is break even as far as providing services. So we're right there all the time, but we embrace that. One thing that has done in our community is the citizens have stepped up. We have a numerous very active citizen boards. The Lake Helen League for Better Living you may have heard of, and under that we have the Lake Committee, which has done a bunch of work on our lakes, the Garden Club in our parks. The Legacy Committee is working right now on a project with the city to build a pavilion in our park by the lake. Our Cultural Arts Center was built with an ECHO grant quite a few years back, and then it languished and was basically sitting there in an empty building with nothing happening in it. And a group of citizens, about 10 families, came together. They've incorporated, and they're getting ready to contract with the city and hit the ground with all 20 feet running, and revitalize our community center. And it's that type of community and civic involvement that makes us special. Our churches also, I can't neglect to mention them. We've got our food pantry and a community center that are vibrant members of our community. And that civic and community-based working together has made Lake Helen very strong, and I am just striving for steady incremental improvement.
Thank you, Mayor Lane. And from Orange City, Mayor Blair.
Good afternoon. Am I hot?
Yep.
Good afternoon. It's my honor to serve as Orange City Mayor as our great city is moving forward and meeting the challenges in an ever-changing world. But for all those accomplishments we have achieved, nothing could have been done without the hardworking and dedication of our entire city staff in the leadership of our city manager, Dale Arrington. And let's not forget those who serve on our boards and volunteer for other activities. We plan to honor those individuals soon with a banquet. This past year, Councilmember Martin Harper brought forward an idea to have a park ranger program for Citizens Patrol at Mill Lake Park. It has proven to be very successful in educating citizens and park users of general information and the park rules. Councilmember Alex Thompson recently brought forth a proposal to honor city residents who go beyond with a Citizens Award to be given out quarterly. Vice Mayor Marks keeps making the news with her Backpack Buddies program, helping feed the less fortunate in our city and surrounding area. Jeff Albach is on top of all things transportation with his involvement in the TPO and is president of the Manatee Festival. Councilmember Bill O'Connor stays very busy being past quartermaster of the VFW post and currently serves on its honor guard. He also brought forth an ordinance to change the size of sheds that folks could have in their yard, as well as being a strong proponent of local businesses. And finally, Bill Crippen, a.k.a. the Walking Orange City Historic Encyclopedia, is very involved in the River of Lakes Heritage Corridor, which has done tremendous things to promote tourism in our West Volusia area. By the way, Bill is not with us today as he took a tumble down the stairs at his house, breaking his tibia and knee. He said it was either him or the dog. I would have sacrificed the dog. But sometimes people say to me, "You're doing a great job as mayor." Well, that remains to be seen. But I tell them that I'm just one of 7 on a council, and it's our entire Orange City team that makes us so successful. We have lots of things going on. More than 1,000 residential units are currently under construction or review. We have had a 10% population growth since 2019. Large development projects like Liberty Station, the crossings on State Road 472 and Kentucky Avenue will have residential units as well as retail. Allure on Enterprise Road is 130 units. Venture Apartments in Park Hill, 298 units. The medical community continues to grow with several medical facilities, including Florida Cancer Specialist campus on Enterprise Road. This past year, we saw a 121,000 square foot tower expansion to Advent Fish Memorial Hospital. A couple of weeks ago, we had a ribbon cutting for Valencia Landing, 68 unit residential duplexes in out-of-this-world, state-of-the-art clubhouse. It's at John Knox Village, and when John Knox Village does a project, you can bet it's going to be top shelf. Halifax Hospital is also planning a 7,800 square foot expansion to their facility on Veterans Parkway, and there are many smaller retail businesses making Orange City their new home. Orange City remains strong as the employment and shopping center of West Volusia by providing access to high-wage jobs and quality retail opportunities. We continue to make major improvements to our infrastructure, looping our water system, septic to sewer connections done with some assistance from our state representative. Currently, we are expanding septic to sewer to the west side of 1792. This may not seem like a big deal. It not only helps the environment, but it also allows for different kinds of businesses like cafes and restaurants. We're currently doing a facility study for replacement and rehabilitation of our dilapidated city buildings, including a new fire station, police station, and other city facilities. Big French is going to be a multi-use trail from Valentine Park to the base of the railroad bridge by Blue Springs State Park. It is moving along nicely. While this land is in the county, we feel that for the safety of our residents and economic development opportunities, it is a very necessary project. We are putting in a green sand filter in our water system. A runabout is planned for the intersection of Rhode Island and Leavitt Avenues. Our CRA, Community Redevelopment Agency, has been awarding facade grants, with the last one being awarded to Riverwalk Pizza, aka the Brew Pub, and the list goes on. But another aspect of the city I want to mention to some of the various events that we do for our cities: the Mayor's Fitness Challenge, the Halloween block party that literally attracts thousands of people, the African American Festival, the Christmas Parade in Village, the 4th of July fireworks, homecoming parade with University High School, and one thing that is very near and dear to my heart is our establishment of an Orange City Youth Council. It's a bona fide board of the city that follows Sunshine Rule. You see, all of these things combined that make Orange City the best place to live and work in Volusia County. I want to thank the Chamber for having us today and giving us an opportunity to talk about our cities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. And from Pearson, Mayor Bennett.
And good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank also the DeLand Chamber of Commerce and Cobb Coal for hosting this event, and for all the other partners that have made this possible here this afternoon. First, I'd like to start off and say just this past week I had a colleague of mine that I've served for several years, Thomas L. Larrabee, which was on the council. We lost him this past week, so I ask that you keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. It's been indeed an honor and privilege to serve as a council member, chairman, and now as mayor in the town of Pearson government. Pearson is a town that depicts true small America, where neighbors still take time to take care of each other. We cherish our agricultural industry that has been so kind to many of us for generations. We have also, Pearson, I'd like to say, as some of the other sister cities have mentioned, we have now are working on upgrading our municipal water system with new wells coming online, a new water plant. We at this time also are working on the implementation and construction of a citywide sewer system, and also we are known as the fern capital of the world, and also hometown of Chipper Jones, and we are in the process of refurbishing the Chipper Jones Park, making some improvement, and also our Palmetto Park. Another thing that we're working on in the town of Pearson, we were fortunate to have the Volusia County School Board make available to the town of Pearson the old Pearson Elementary School, which was first constructed in 1926, the same year that the town was incorporated. That's a work in progress because it's an older building. We are, as we speak, we're working in making improvements, and we plan to be moving into that very soon. That will be our new town center. So there has been a lot going on, as I have shared with you here this afternoon, and it's things that have been a little different with different governments due to the pandemic, but I'm happy to see that us all coming together this afternoon for this event, and I would like to encourage anybody that would like a slower pace to be out in the country, come to Pearson. It's a wonderful garden spot. God bless you all, and thank you.
thank all of you for those introductory statements. It really is a highlight of how lucky we are to be here in West Volusia. And for me, I live here and work here, and I can actually be in Lake Helen, Deltona, or Orange City in less than a 2-mile drive. I do live in the city limits of DeLand, but my back property line is the city limit line. So I really feel like that 472 corridor, that area. My kids take classes in DeBerry and in Sanford and camps all across West Volusia. And it really is such a great place to live. And the questions that we've asked are designed to highlight some of the more detailed aspects of what's going on in our city. And we can't ignore the fact that we are not out of, but have moved to a new phase of how we govern and how we operate and do business in the pandemic. And adversity often leads to innovation. And so I'd like to ask the mayors, what positives have come out of the pandemic with respect to your cities and towns' organizational structure and operations? This could be new technology, it could be new forms of customer service. So tell us a little bit about how things have evolved as a result of the pandemic. And we will start again this time with the city of DeBerry.
Thank you. As a result of the grants from the county, we were able to visit our individual businesses, or at least most of them, and make them aware of what was going on and how they can access those grants. This helped them do a better job. We were able to do a better job in collecting information, realizing that at that point we weren't able to. So that gave us the opportunity. We were also moving forward with an online permitting system, which will greatly reduce the need for residents to develop and make frequent visits to City Hall for routine projects. So we've enhanced our technology.
Thank you. Mayor Apgar?
I think the utilization of Zoom or other technology to conduct meetings was a big change. It's made a lot of difference. And in our particular case, for example, staff meetings that used to bring everybody together from remote locations, now they do them by Zoom. So from a productivity perspective, a public works employee stays at public works and doesn't have the 10 or 15 minute that probably turns into more like a half-hour trip, so to speak, before they get back to resumption of their job. It's worked at all levels with consultants and for us as elected officials, talking to people that are coming before the commission. We don't have to get in the same room anymore, and so I think that's the biggest change I've noticed.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg?
Thank you. So what the pandemic pretty much taught us is that we have some antiquated policies and we had antiquated procedures. And what we took out of the whole pandemic is the fact that we now are pretty much loaded up for any either future pandemic, which of course we hope that doesn't happen, or any other future emergency that causes some of the issues that the pandemic did. For example, like we all talk about the Zoom meetings, we talk about, for us, we were able to provide testing at one of our big parks. We were able to look at how we handle our meeting structures through virtual meetings and really consolidating meetings. How do you go ahead and not have as many just for the sake of having a meeting? And also, we looked at our online operations, and we had been working toward online permitting and so forth, but we really looked at what's the possibility of people working from home? What is the issue of going ahead and being able to pay your water bill online? We had an antiquated method where you had to actually go on our website, print out the paper, fill out the paper, and take it down to the water department to be able to go ahead and have it, taken from your checking account or your savings account. We have new technology in place now, which will be part of one of your other questions, that is going to enable us to do that. But for me, when I wanted to go ahead and do that, I said, wow, so even in a pandemic, I've got to print this up, go down to the water department, go down there and hand that in person. There has to be a better way. So we've really come out of it looking toward the positive, and anything that's a negative usually turns into a positive, and we have definitely done that in Deltona.
Thank you, Mayor. Lake Helen, Mayor Lane.
Well, I have a little bit different take. I've only been mayor for 4 months, so I missed the entire pandemic. I'm not sad about that. I was on the commission though for 6 years, but that was 5 years ago. I had a 5-year hiatus in there, and the whole world went a hell in a handbasket while I was gone. So I asked my staff, I said, actually it was interesting. I left as commissioner, came back, and our entire staff had turned over. Nobody in City Hall was there when I left before. Same thing in Public Works and many of our police force. The stress of the pandemic was very real, and in part, created much of that turnover. But the staff said that they were forced to look inward, that they were forced to streamline what they did. They reevaluated much of what they did, and much of it they realized really wasn't that important. And it went away. We have become much more streamlined. They did better cross-training so that when people had to not show up, things didn't go without being done at all. We have a very small staff. Our entire city staff is 14 people. And so there's no 2 people doing any one job most of the time. So that cross-training became very important. We also did incorporate some more modernized water paying procedures and things like that. So we are almost to the 20th century now, and soon, steady incremental improvement will catch up with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Blair?
Well, in Orange City, we found that a great majority of our workforce could work at home, including setting up water accounts online or on the telephone. We also find that transitioning into this work from home situation now, it attracts a younger workforce, especially people with children who, prefer to do that rather than coming to work every day. And we find that it's very productive working online, and it reduces travel time to meetings, thus making it much more effective.
Thank you. Mayor Bennett?
We also, in the town of Pearson, have had to do likewise, have been able to continue to do things through Zoom meetings. And like Helen talking about a small staff, we have a very small staff. But with our staff, Carmen has been able to work from home remotely, and other types of things we have learned to do remotely, and just adapt to the times in which we have due to the pandemic. But things right now are good, and we're just looking to the future.
Thank you, and we'll stay with the town of Pearson. Cities rarely can self-fund within their own boundaries, generate all the revenue necessary to run a city. And we heard a lot about federal and state relief programs coming out of the pandemic. Take a moment, if you would, to talk about what type of state and federal resources or funds your cities and towns have received as a result of the pandemic relief funds, and how they'll be used.
Well, first of all, I had mentioned earlier about we're working on upgrading our water system. We were fortunate to get a CDBG Community Development Block Grant for a new water plant in the amount of $650,000. And then with the FERDAP grant, that is enabling us to make upgrades and improvements at our Chipper Jones Park and our North Palmetto Park. We also were blessed and fortunate to receive money from the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act. And to date, we have received $474,000 as of October. The total amount of the funds are $948,116. That's maybe some of the larger cities. That doesn't sound like a lot, but to the town of Pearson, that's very significant. But we'll be putting all of these, as I mentioned, all of these funds are being utilized, and it's been able to help us facilitate and do the things that we're working on at this time.
I just want to point out that as soon as I mentioned Washington and Tallahassee, the thunder happened.
Yeah.
Mayor Blair?
Yes, that's funny. Originally, we thought we were going to use most of our money for our water department, but as the guidelines for ARPA changed, we also changed. So now we're looking at capital facilities police, fire, public works departments, as well as hard structures. We've also, last year we received $500,000 from the state legislature for our septic to sewer projects along our streetscape, our beautiful streetscape in downtown Orange City, along Holly Avenue. All those buildings, as well as the city complexes, will soon have sewer hooked to them. And we're now awaiting a $500,000 bill for the governor to sign for funding for our police facility. So hopefully he will sign that and get a little more money.
Thank you. Mayor Lane?
Yeah, we've gotten a few things which have been a real bonus, like you say, to a small city. We had a $90,000 CARES Act come through for us, and we put that into our police department. And we also have, for the governor, I know Governor DeSantis is listening, please don't line item. We got a $240,000 matching grant to get a new roof on our historic city hall and new windows, of which there are a lot of windows. It was built before air conditioning, so there's a lot of windows. But that kind of money means a lot to a city our size. It really does. The ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act, which we thought we were going to have to put into water because we are desperately in need of water, upgrades to our distribution system primarily. Looks like we're going to be able to free all that up. We've found other monies, and we're going to be able to free that up and just use that throughout the city to make some really big differences in our parks and several other things. It's actually on our next city agenda meeting agenda to brainstorm a little bit how we can best use that money. And we're very excited about that. It's a new problem to have and nice.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg?
Thank you so much. So initially, some of the state money that we got, we were able to go ahead and use that for fire department COVID-related operations. That's what we did initially with that money. And when we looked at the federal government ARPA funds, it's in excess of $13 million. And what we're doing with that, we actually just had it on the commission agenda Monday night. We are going to use about $9.8 million to get all new water meters for the city of Deltona, those homes and businesses under Deltona Water, which is probably 35,000 accounts. And the digital meters, we have been looking at that, and it's been a wish and a dream, and we didn't know how we were going to pay for it. And we've been looking at it a long time, and it's near and dear to not only my heart. I see my commission out there. Thank you, commissioners, for approving that. And it's going to make such a difference for the residents because, like all of us, when you have your own utility, the biggest complaints and the most inconsistencies we receive from residents always concern their water bill and where was the leak and why was mine so high. And these new meters are going to allow them to be able to monitor their own water use. And it is a huge, huge thing for a city like Deltona that has a large utility department. And like I said, it's been something that I would hope for a long time would come to fruition, and it has. And so proudly, that's where our funding is going. We should have that started soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Apgar?
Thank you. The early monies, the state monies that we basically use principally in the public safety arena. As far as the ARPA money goes, we get about $5.6 million, and because I think we were one of the entitlement cities which provided us with additional flexibility on the utilization of that funding, and we're largely going to use that for police and fire related things, but the dollars that were allocated to police and fire will, be used for other purposes. And as I understand it, at one of the next couple of meetings, staff will make a recommendation on how those funds are utilized into specific projects and ideas, and they're working on those things. And I'm sure, besides myself, other members of the commission have some ideas about that, but we'll save that for another day. So thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Butlin?
Thank you. I've lived in the city of DeBary for 12 years now, and ever since I moved there, there's been stormwater issues from the very beginning. So fortunately, DeBarry is getting about $10 million that we're looking to put back into the stormwater system and water quality projects that we have. And with that, we'll be able to reduce some of the expenses to the residents. So we're hoping that that will alleviate some of the pressure on those water systems that we have and bring them up to date.
Thank you, and we'll stay with DeBarry for the next question. What future infrastructure or economic development projects are coming soon in your city, and/or what types of projects are you hoping to see come to fruition in the next few years?
Well, DeBarry is mostly built out. The only thing that's left is the TOD around the Sunrail station. The Sunrail attracted over $1 billion in transit-oriented projects, so it's a good economic support for the area and development, and the sense for a city to maximize the opportunity for its proximity to that station. By actively infill properties, we attracted over $200 million just in the Main Street DeBarry project that we have going on right now that we just approved last night, the contract for that property. So I'm very excited to bring that forward and say we're a go with it. So we're looking forward to that.
Outstanding. Mayor Apgar?
For me, it would be the 142-acre project I mentioned during my remarks. I mean, that project potentially is transformational for that area. If you think about what's happening on the Deltona side, Halifax Health, Amazon, there are plans on the Orange City side of 472, and so that whole area back to the 472 DRI, which was abandoned. A lot of what's happening in that area now is very consistent with that, and hopefully all of that will come to fruition. And what that really will do is, in the case of our project, potentially it will create a lot of spin-off businesses and job opportunities. And I think that's, the other part of the question is, I just want to see greater opportunities in DeLand and all of West Volusia for better high-paying jobs for all of our citizens and our young people as they join the workforce.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Hertzberg?
Yes, so and I also alluded to some of the projects that are coming to Deltona. The one is the widening of Normandy Boulevard. The other is another spec building going in with another 1 million square feet across the street from Amazon and Portland Industries. And so that's another big, to your point, Mayor Apgar, in that area, that region is just growing. It's growing with distribution. It's growing with housing. And when we look a little bit further on Normandy Boulevard, right there where the Epic Theater is, we're looking at having an apartment complex come in. As you know, Deltona is mostly single-family homes, and we really don't have any large apartment complexes, so we're really missing that link of that type of housing. So it's exciting to know that that is really coming to fruition there. We're also looking at putting in commercial sewer in some of the areas that are possibly like our CRA area, our area off Deltona Boulevard, around Saxon. Those areas have the potential, and they have old buildings, old plazas that aren't really being used, gas stations that have gone out of business. And how do you revitalize those? Well, you revitalize them by putting in sanitary sewer, because the things that our residents mostly want, they want restaurants, they want some shopping opportunities, and in order to have a restaurant, you need sanitary sewer. So we're looking at putting that in the commercial areas, and the commission has been amazing at directing funding and directing staff to working on those areas, because it's an integral part of Deltona to continue to work on the older areas that have been there for a long time, and as population shifts, we have to focus on that.
Thank you. Mayor Lane, what can we look forward to incrementally happening in the future?
Well, one thing that happened in our city, 20 years ago, we got a major bond issue and upgraded our water system, our water production system. We got new wells, new everything but the distribution system. Well, that created our water base rate, and therefore we didn't have any money to put into the distribution system except to just piecemeal it for the last 20 years. So I became mayor, and we had like 5 water main breaks with boil water notices in my first few weeks. And of course, that was all my fault. And so I'm scrambling around looking for how we can fix that. Well, that bond is being retired this fiscal year. We're going to have that money available to us to get about an $8 million bond issue, 50% of which will be forgivable. We're going to sink that into the city. It'll look like we've done nothing, but hopefully we will be able to stabilize our distribution system, and hopefully that'll carry us for the next 20 years while we're paying for that one. But it's a tremendous project for us, and we're really excited about it. It's going to make a big difference to have be able to tell our citizens they're no longer drinking out of 80-year-old metal pipes, which a lot of them are. So it's a little disconcerting. But we're improving.
Thank you. Mayor Blair?
One of the biggest things we're doing in Orange City right now is our facilities study. A lot of our buildings, our police department, fire department, or for example, our fire department is in an old church. Our police department, we don't have proper places to separate the prisoners from the victims and that sort of thing when they're being interviewed. So we are really in dire need to fix up a lot of our city-owned buildings. Another thing that we're really pushing through is the septic to sewer. Huge initiative. You know, in my view, I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime, but I believe the state will come down and tell us all that we have to hook into a sewer somewhere. Our water looping project keep going on. You know, you loop your water in a city because if you have dead ends in your water pipes, the water goes down there and it stagnates and it creates problems. So the idea is to have it looped so it's continually moving throughout the city. And as I mentioned before, we have big projects going on, Liberty Station, the crossings. Another big thing we have going on is Kentucky Avenue, which is the south of Graves Avenue. It was a private road, and we're getting all the landowners together trying to get possession of that so we can make that into a city-owned street.
Thank you. Mayor Bennett?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we are working at upgrading our municipal water system and putting in a citywide sewer. With these being completed at that time, we are hopeful that will help bring new opportunities and things into the town of Pearson, and for a younger generation to want to stay in the town. And so we're hopeful some of the things that we're doing with the new infrastructure that will help to bring new businesses and to improve the life there in the town of Pearson.
Thank you. And we'll stay with Pearson for the next question. Is there a particular issue, good or bad, that came out of this year's legislative session in Tallahassee that'll affect your towns and cities going forward in the next?
Well, I just would, being a part of the League of Cities organization, all the cities throughout Volusia County, all 16 of us, we want to keep our home rule. And so all of us, I believe, are thankful that they recognize that and will continue to let the local people make the decisions here at the local level and not at the state level.
Thank you. Mayor Blair?
Home rule. Yep, it's all about home rule. Tallahassee tries to take it every single year, and every year they chip away and get a little bit more. One thing that I have been pushing in Orange City for years, and I've asked our legal experts, that I don't think people should be allowed to smoke in our parks. Well, the legislature acted on that, except you can smoke cigars. So go figure that out. You can't smoke a cigarette or pipe or anything else, but you're allowed to smoke cigars in our park. I don't agree with that. There's just so many different things going on. This Bill 620, they call it the mother of all preemptions, allows businesses to sue the city. We just don't believe in that. There's a homestead exemption bill up there right now that would exclude, and Bob will probably talk to this because he did on a call earlier this morning, that excludes firefighters, teachers, and things like that. FRS people at work. I'm a school teacher myself, although I'm in drop, so it won't affect me. But they want to add another 3% for public employees to pay into their retirement system. Rick Scott did it years ago, and I had spoken to him once on the telephone. He called me after a hurricane, and I said, thank you very much for calling and making sure we're okay here. We appreciate the federal government's help, but let's go back and talk about when you were governor and this 3% that you tacked on. And he understood that I was probably of a different party than he was, and he played dumb, which wasn't really difficult, I don't think, for him to do that. And he says, well, that should have sunsetted a long time ago. And I'm like, really, Rick? Really? Come on. So home rule, make sure everybody knows what home rule is. People don't realize what happens. The insurance thing, my insurance went up over 30% on my properties that I own. And what a lot of people don't realize was this was created last year by the legislature. They took the cap away. There was a 10% cap on all homeowner insurance premiums in the state, and they took that away. Well, now they're up there hustling, oh, we're going to do all this and that to help you people. Well, they already got us once, so they're going to get us again. So pay attention to what's happening in Tallahassee. Thank you.
Mayor Lane?
Wow. I'm going to follow that. Yes, I am. I didn't talk to Governor Scott or Senator Scott. I did talk to my staff, though, and there's a tree ordinance. We love our trees in Lake Helen, and they had passed a tree ordinance in Tallahassee that gave them all control, or basically took away all of our control, and people could cut down a tree if it looked like it might drop a leaf on their house. And that got reversed, and we can go back to controlling our own trees. That may not sound like much, but it matters to the hearts of Lake Heleners. And there was an exemptions bill that you alluded to that was going to add homestead exemption to a lot of things that was going to hurt our budget, being largely residential. If you've got a tremendous commercial base in the city, no big deal. When you're almost 100% commercial base, it's a big deal. And it was going to really hurt us. Some of the figures I had seen was going to really, really hurt us. So far, that's been dropped. I hope it never comes back. I love those people too, but I can't support them that way. Sovereign immunity and protection from lawsuits is a big thing. We hope that stays killed. And so sometimes it's what gets killed and doesn't make it through, because there's always people looking to find ways into your coffers. That's the nature of life, and the nature of government is to seek power. Tallahassee is always going to seek power. We're always going to seek to retain it and get it back. It's a constant war that will always be there. None of us are angels, and we aren't governing angels, so we'll keep working at it. Stay strong.
And it's an excellent point that sometimes the things that don't pass are the things we need to be most aware of next year, because
Yes.
they will more than likely come back in another form with a few different words. So excellent point on not just looking what passed, but what didn't make. Mayor Hertzberg?
Right there, because they are always resurrected. If there's a motivation behind it, they will always come back. The bad is, what Mayor Blair said, the FRS. I mean, this is another unfunded mandate that got tossed out at the last minute. We were not able, as municipal elected officials, as cities, as staff members, were able to go up there and really fight that and present a real economic picture of what that means to our budgets. And when you look at that, that is definitely bad. When you look at the good is the tree ordinance. I chair a policy committee for the Florida League of Cities, and that was a priority we looked at to see, was there the political will there to actually overturn something? And that is really hard to do. It's really hard to do. And when you look at that, maybe trees are not significant. They are, and I agree, but the fact that it was able to be modified in such a short period of time from when it was passed, that said a whole lot that Tallahassee is willing to look, listen, and maybe that particular bill was not as good as it should have been when it was passed. And so I feel like a lot of good came out of that, because they saw that it was not good, it was wrong, and they were able to modify it and did it in a very, very short amount of time from when that bill was passed. The other good thing about this legislative session is that they are still committed to funding water projects. We had heard that, things go in cycles. Water was on the downside. They had funded so many water projects, so many things with the Everglades, Lake O, everything, that they weren't going to do that this year. And we have so far, Governor DeSantis signed the budget. We have been very, very fortunate in receiving funding, a lot of us up here, for water projects and for the critical infrastructure that this state needs for water, whether it's stormwater, whether it's septic to sewer, whether it's just drilling wells and dealing with the massive amount of people that are coming to this state. So those are the positive things, and I hope that trend continues.
Thank you. Mayor Apgar?
My parents taught me a long time ago, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. But having said that,
throw it out.
One, I would suggest that everybody take a hard look and ask yourself a lot of questions about the constitutional amendment which adds the additional $50,000 homestead exemption for certain defined people, classroom teachers, firefighters, policemen, emergency medical technician. But the enabling statute that's currently before the governor for action does not define some of those terms. So is a professor at Stetson or at the University of Florida a classroom teacher? Is a fire marshal a firefighter? So there's some definitional problems. But another thing is I think everybody knows that what's happened in the past is that there's a shifting of responsibility. If it comes off the homestead side, what happens is it goes to the non-homesteaded and commercial side of the equation in the process. So if Heidi is a school teacher and homesteaded, and Phyllis is a school teacher that makes the same amount of money but rents, Heidi gets a benefit, which in part the landlord passes through to Phyllis. So think about some of the unintended consequences of that particular amendment. And it will be a huge hit to most of the local governments. This morning we heard statewide it was in what was the number, like 80 to 90 million dollars the first year. Having said that, one other historic note, 1968, the Florida Constitution introduced the concept of home rule. Before that, there was no home rule. Everything the cities had to ask the legislature for. When I first was elected in 1983 and into the 90s, home rule was largely respected. But for whatever reasons, multiple bills are filed every year, and so the cities are having to fight on multiple fronts about taking away control. And we're the government closest to the people. We know more about our communities and about things that should go on in DeLand, DeBary, Orange City, Deltona, Lake Helen, and Pearson. And so the erosion of that has become much more significant over the last 10 years than it was in the early 80s and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Butler.
Okay. Some of the good that's come out of it. Again, I agree with all them on the home rule, and we can go septic and unfunded mandates and all that stuff, and I agree with all you guys on all that. That's across the board, which are some issues. But in working, our staff worked very closely with our representatives, Broder, Senator Wright, Representative Barnaby, and our new representative, McLean, and helped our city acquiring $2 million for stormwater projects. We're hoping that, again, the governor does not veto that line item budget, but it's in there. And if he listens to these representatives of us, that they would stay in there and we'll get that money. But that's a positive note. And of course, the unfunded mandates are just hard to deal with at the city level. Septic to sewer being one of them.
Thank you. And because you all have done such a good job in your answers today, we have time for our fun question here at the end.
All right.
So keep it short. And I'll tell you all why in a minute. But I'm going to stay with DeBary, and then Mayor Apgar, I'm going to skip you for a minute, and then I'm going to come back. But So DeBerry, if money and funding were no object, what is the one item you would address for your city and the region?
You're starting with
Yep,
him?
DeBerry.
Oh, to me. No,
Nope,
starting
DeBerry.
with me. You're last.
Yep, I'm skipping.
last?
You're
Okay.
last.
Okay, I'm the closer, okay.
Yeah. Continue to improve our infrastructure through road improvements and upgrades and stuff like the stormwater, park amenities. You know, park equipment goes bad after so many years. You have to replace it, whether it's good or not. We're trying to bury power lines, you know, to get them, the trees, and they're effective. Everything is a ripple effect, so we're trying to, but that would be, if there was no object in money, we would be doing those type of things that cost them a lot of money now that we just don't have to do.
Understood. Mayor Hertzberg?
Affordable housing.
Yep. Mayor Lane?
We don't have any unaffordable housing. Just kidding. If to keep it back to one thing, probably 40% or so, that's a wild guess, but 40% of our city streets are still unpaved, including mine. I have a letter from my granddad, who was in the House before me, from 1961, I believe, getting the commission to promise that they would pave his road next, and they actually wrote him back and said they would, and it's still unpaved. So steady incremental improvement takes all sorts of creative thinking. But that's what I would do if I had $1 million or 100 million. I would repave them all or pave them all.
Thank you, Mayor Blair.
This is very easy. Give the mayor 1,000% increase in his pay. You know, that's a no-brainer. No, actually, our council years ago voted to give themselves a raise, and I opposed it. I was the only one on my council to oppose it. Sorry, guys. No, this is an easy one for me. Septic to sewer. I think it not only affects our cities, but it affects the entire region, the whole Blue Spring Basin.
Thank you. Mayor Bennett?
It's, this one thing comes to mind is not just for the town of Pearson, but for all of the cities, not only in northwest Volusia, but in the east part of Volusia County. And the point is, we're going to continue to have growth, and growth done in the right way is good. But when you have growth, and we're all experiencing that, even Pearson, water is a concern. So when you said that there's no limit on money and having a budget, I would love to see gray water brought over into parts of West Volusia to help shore up and improve our sole source aquifer, which we have here in Volusia County. It's sole source. It's just here for Volusia County, and we keep pulling out of it, but there's not enough water going back in. Now, once you get saltwater intrusion and have to go to reverse osmosis, that's very expensive. Not to mention when you bankrupt all the beautiful things that we have here in West Volusia with the springs there in Orange City and Ponce de Leon Springs, all the beautiful freshwater areas that we have. We needed to, well, I'd love to see something done to help shore up the sole source aquifer that we have here in Volusia County.
Thank you. So the DeLand Chamber and Orange City Alliance, DeLand Chamber, some of you may not know, is actually the oldest chamber of commerce in the state of Florida. It's only over 125 years now in existence. And Bob just mentioned that he started his career in public service in 1983. He has been in service to the city for almost a third of that history of the DeLand Chamber. And so I figured I'd give him the opportunity to have the last word in his last State of the Region address. And on behalf of the Chamber, who you have been an amazing friend and supporter of for all those years, thank you so much for all you've done for us.
Thank you. I'll make it the last few words. I want to go back to the last question in one respect, and that is, and one of the dilemmas that we face, and as a couple up here talked about, we have grants that the same people are sponsoring that are supporting legislation that we oppose. And it's a pretty darn delicate balance of trying to, ask a member of the legislature to bring your city $10 million, and at the same time, don't ruin our city by voting for this bill. And it's a very delicate tightrope that we walk in that respect. To the actual question, to me it was a close call between water and roads. When I say water, that would have been septic to sewer and quality and quantity and that. But I think if I had all that money that you're offering up, Rob, I would take care of 100% of the backlog in traffic in DeLand, West Volusia, and Volusia County. Because I think if that occurred, the discussions about growth would be a lot different. I personally believe the traffic and congestion is one of the biggest issues for people related to growth. Next to, it's probably in most public hearings, the first words out of people's mouth, it's going to create too much traffic. So in my dream world, I'd take care of that backlog, and then we'd have more quality discussions, I guess, about the actual project than what state law allows us to do and not do relative to roads. Thank you, and thank you for the kind words. So,
thank you. Do we have Elizabeth? There you are. Thank you all so much for your attendance. Again, on behalf of my partners at Cobb Cole, it's our pleasure to present this. So often we are in front of the mayors and their commission and council members with new projects, and it really is an honor to sit here and have these kind of conversations with them. We know that they do what they do out of love for their communities and for all of this region in West Volusia. So thank you all again so much for everything that you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just want to thank Rob for moderating that fantastic panel, and again, thank you to our mayors. In my role at Duke Energy, I focus on economic development, so I've spent a lot of time the last couple of years in markets like Ocala, Orlando, Polk County, but now more and more I'm getting to work on projects in my almost backyard. And so it's really exciting to see the fact that you are not only fostering a business environment that's allowing our existing companies to thrive, but it is companies outside of our market are taking notice. There is so much interest in West Volusia, and Mayor Apgar, I loved your idea of invest in the West, so I'm going to take that as an action item and work with my economic development colleagues in the room to see if we can't make that happen in the very near future. But just thank you again for your leadership. And thank you for being here. I think many of you here are chamber members, but if you're not, I just want to invite you to come check out the DeLand Area Chamber of Commerce and Orange City Alliance. We have more than 500 members across West Volusia. We have a number of ways for you to get engaged, but one of my favorites and what I would highly recommend is check out our Office Octane. That's every Monday morning at 8:30 at the Drika Theater. We typically have 50, 60 plus people. It's a really dynamic group, and it's a great way to just build relationships within this community. So please be our guest if you're not a member and visit us one Monday. Again, thank you for being here. It is pretty gross outside, so please be careful as you drive. If you don't want to walk out in the rain, we welcome you to stay in here for a little bit. We've got a step and repeat back there if you want to take some pictures. I'm sure our fantastic photographer would love to do that for you. But again, please just be careful out there, and thank you again for coming.